Is Dave right? She will be confirmed by the Senate in a way Matt Gaetz wasn't able to?
I think it became very clear by midweek that Matt Gaetz was definitely not going to get confirmed, particularly after J.D. Vance was taking him from room to room in the Capitol trying to gin up some support. And senators made it very clear the support was not there. Pam Bondi, I think, is very likely. You know, who knows what may come out in the coming weeks. But I think that she is, much more of something that the Republicans can get on board with in terms of a nominee for this position. There are questions about a $25,000 check that a Trump charity had written her for a race in Florida, and some other questions. But these are sort of more of the norm as opposed to all of the allegations that were surrounding Matt Gaetz.
Well, it's interesting when we hear from some Democrats on the confirmation process, whether it's Bondi or anyone else for that matter. Democratic Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania weighed in about the cabinet selections by President-elect Trump. Listen.
I'd like to remind everybody that, when the side that wins, they get to pick the people. And, I hope and I expect that there's going to be enough that we can work together, and I'm looking for that. And then there's going to be some picks that are unacceptable. But I also want to remind you that they have the majority in the Senate, and they are going to have the ability to pick whoever they want.
It was a windy day in Washington. Fetterman was saying, for those of you listening on Bloomberg Radio, I want to remind you they have the majority in the Senate. They're going to have the ability to pick whoever they want. Is that the spirit Democrats will carry into this contest? Because there are still some very big concerns about Pete Hegseth, a sexual assault case that was posed against him, not to mention Tulsi Gabbard's record when dealing with Syria.
Look, we've come a long way from the times when most cabinet appointments were overwhelmingly confirmed with 90-plus vote majorities in the Senate. Yeah. It's become a lot more partisan on both sides, it should be said, and that's part of the reason why we now have disabled the filibuster for these kinds of appointments. So Republicans are headed to a 53-vote majority in the Senate. Mm-hmm. That means they can only afford to lose 3 senators if J.D. Vance is the tie-breaking vote. We saw yesterday that Matt Gaetz counted to 4 Republican senators who were not going to vote for his confirmation, and he bowed out. So there's still, it's not a slam dunk for especially these more controversial appointments that are remaining. We're talking about Pete Hegseth. We're talking about Tulsi Gabbard to lead to be the Director of National Intelligence, and RFK Jr. at Health and Human Services. Those two, we're going to have to be able to count the Republican votes, because we can probably rest assured that Democrats are going to be united in their opposition to all of those nominees.
Well, so if we're considering what Donald Trump is trying to achieve here, he wants people he wants, obviously, but he's trying to consider the reception they will get in the Senate, yes. For the one pick in particular that is still outstanding that we care most about, Treasury Secretary, it's not just about the reception on Capitol Hill, right, but also about the reception on Wall Street. Is that why this is taking so long, Gregory? Yeah,
he's got 3 different constituencies, the Senate, the Wall Street, but also this Make America Great Again movement, this base. The people who elected him to appoint disruptors to his government. And, so we have some names in the mix, but none of them really captures that magic alchemy where they cite all 3 of those different constituencies. Scott Bessent seems to be the closest to that, certainly has the support of MAGA. Wall Street guy, probably could get confirmed, but there's something holding it back. Trump is being very deliberative here in a way that he has not been deliberative on these other very important jobs like defense and justice.
Well, we started by mentioning the name Matt Gaetz, and we do have news from Florida where Governor DeSantis has set the timetable for a special election to replace him, not till April 1st. That's a long wait for the Speaker of the House, who could have a majority of, well, as little as 1.
It could be a tiny majority, because remember, there are 2 other Trump appointees who are to return to the House come January 3rd and sit on the Republican side of the aisle, Elise Stefanik and Tim Walz. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. We still have a couple of House races that have not been called yet. So we're not quite sure what the majority will be, but with them out of the House, after the inauguration, presumably, we could be maybe looking at a 216 House until these races until these seats are filled.
And that's assuming that the president-elect doesn't pull even more from the House potentially as he fills out this administration.
Yes, I mean, there are certainly some others still in the mix. If Hegseth cannot, if he pulls a Gates and pulls out, Mike Rogers, the chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, is still considered to be in the mix for the Pentagon chief job. So it'll be interesting to see what exactly happens in the coming weeks as more and more of these positions get filled.